are back at it again. Let's see. Had a good time. Wow, was it really just this past weekend?
Yeah, it was
All right.
Saturday.
But yeah, back at it. Coach Purdy, Coach Tyler. Figure we got a few different things to go over. There's wrestling stuff to talk about, obviously, but we're gonna start off with one of the things that we just got done doing. It was a great time. I don't know if you caught I put a little mini subcast out there, and I actually made a little video. I normally don't do videos on the subcast, but I did. But it was just kind of like capping up what we did. So we did the mud run. I said we talked about it some more, and we've talked a lot about being thankful for opportunities to do things, staying motivated, surrounding yourself with the right people. You sent me some Snapchats about the book you're reading, about like if you wouldn't recommend it for your son, brother, sister, daughter, wife, whatever. Why wouldn't you do it for yourself, or people that want to help you and putting yourself around those people? And I think we did a lot of those things in preparation for this mud run, and it was really cool. And I was just really thankful for. I think I was just thankful for a lot of reasons. One, the opportunity to be able to do those things, like we said, and trying to embrace that kind of methodology of living, of doing those type of things. And also, I was really thankful for screws loose on this thing. Yeah, there it is. I was also really thankful because this is my second mud run that I've done. And when I say mud run, not just like any mud run. Like this is the Ultimate Marine Challenge mud run. It's really tough. It's the real deal. And the last time around, I didn't prep for it the right way. I didn't prep at all. I just went with that wrestle mentality and gung ho, and just went through it, and it hurt and it wasn't good. But in this time, just doing the right things and prepping the body and doing things in it. So I was just really thankful for the opportunity to be able to train and be able to do it and get after it and have us have a good time. And we did really well. And just thankful for Coach Tucker was there, which he's going to be a guest later on, and we were both coaches and both coached our other guys on the team. So it was a cool opportunity. Yeah. And, I guess other than, puking your brains out afterwards from being sick, so what'd you think? I had the training, everything, what was...
I had a blast. Probably one of the... So for those of y'all who follow me on Facebook and all that, which I also have an Instagram now. We'll get into that later. But I had a jiu-jitsu tournament the week before, and I was like, man, I might burn myself out. And then luckily I didn't. And then we got there, and it was like the week of, I think it was like that Monday or Tuesday, and I just got sick as a dog, and I couldn't prepare that week. I couldn't eat much. I just wasn't feeling well. I couldn't really breathe well. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tough it out. I kind of had the mentality like he's talking about. It's like, it's just 6.5 miles. It's not gonna hurt. And I got there super nervous, loaded up on some Tylenol, and we just started running. And I had so much fun. I kind of got the itch to do another one, but I don't know if I will or not anytime soon. But it was fun.
No, it was fun. It was a great time. It's one of those things that, when you're done, you're happy, and you're ecstatic about it. And like I said, one of the things that I said that I enjoyed so much about this was surrounding myself with the right people and doing things. It was kind of like my level of joy kind of multiplied, because I knew that not only was it that I worked hard and I trained for it, but I know, the people that were encouraging, and, the teammates and everybody that, that you surround yourself with is genuinely happy for you too when you're making an accomplishment. So that just makes things that much better. So I just really thought that was a cool feeling. And then I was talking to somebody else, and they mentioned the Spartan runs, and I'd never really much thought about doing one of those before. But then again, I only kind of thought about mud runs as well until somebody said something. And then it kind of became a thing. And so I mentioned to Tyler. So then we were talking about the miniseries Spartacus, and then just gladiator training and stuff like that. And I was like, that'd be, I don't know, maybe we might try a Spartan run. Somebody was asking me about it, so maybe we might jump on that bad one and give it a try.
You have 3 levels. You have a beginning level, intermediate, and then they have what they call which is the top tier ones. I know someone who does the top tier ones, and he's a beast. But that's what I found out about when I was trying to prep for this. When I was getting information.
Yeah, because we were finding out. So that might be our next thing. And quite honestly, it's also the mentality that we have, and we talked, and I don't want to get too much into this because we talked with Nick a lot about this. One of the things about wrestlers finding things to do is because we don't have adult wrestling or wrestling past NCAAs if you're not on the elite level and going for world teams and stuff like that. So we got to find something else to do. And, maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing because, like, although we did talk about other things which will be great, but we won't tease that too much. We'll wait till we get Nick on and we'll talk about that whole prospect of the old man league. Which, as funny as that sounds, very well sounds awesome too. But
awesome.
But we talked about that, and that's a whole topic for another show. But what I'm getting at right now, though, is like, I worked out twice yesterday. I was like, do I want to lift or do I want to run? So I kind of got a quick lift and then waited till later and got a late run last night. And I'm like, I'm not trained for anything, or am I? Maybe we'll see. I don't know. But the whole idea of it though is like giving you something to achieve and aim for really helps with keeping you going.
Well, see, that's like this week since I've been sick. Like I'm still kind of in the after effects. You can probably hear it with my voice. But speaking of that, are we on a video? Is the thing recording?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it was like
okay.
There you go. Yeah.
I had a heart attack. No, but yeah, like this week I've been at the house because I can't really do too much. I've even been out of work some because of it, and I'm not working out, and I hadn't been able to run because I've just felt so bad. And it's one of those things that I just really miss it. Like I'm ready to start feeling better because I want to run again.
Yeah.
I want to start running. I want to start getting back on my bike and start swimming and all that. Trying to really push my limits as far physically, like especially with that running. I've started to really enjoy it. A lot of people hate running. At first I did for a while, but it's like we tell our guys, don't think of it as a punishment. Think of it as something to get better at. And that's what I took it as. As I was training, I had small goals that I set myself for running, like controlling my pace, beating a certain hill that always gave me, fits when I was running. And doing that, I thought it was so much fun. I was like, man, I actually really love this. It would clear my head. I'd get what they call the runner's high type feeling where you just feel really good. And it helped me
releasing of endorphins and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I noticed my diet got better, and
I just don't crave anything bad. Like I'll sit there, the other night I thought about Krispy Kreme donuts, but it was like just for a night, and then I was kind of like, you know what? Let me go get let me get something that's actually good for me.
Yeah.
So.
I still like wings and stuff though.
Oh, we had wings right after, but that's
good.
We're not psychopaths.
Good wings, good company. But yeah, so that being said, it's kind of like, definitely looking forward to doing more things, and just another thing to look forward to doing. So keep listening, and soon I hate swimming. And we say hate swimming, so we say hate running, but we'll see. But I am looking forward to doing a little bit more biking and adding some other things other than just running. But when we were training for this, I focused a lot on the running, a lot of the body weight stuff. So I had a specific thing, but I am looking forward to incorporating some long bike rides and some other things in. So the evolution of training and the evolution of what we're doing, kind of just looking forward to all that. So just looking forward to, like I said, training's not done. Just because the race is done, we're not stopping here type things. Like, trying to do the overall body lifestyle thing and finding different things to do. And it's interesting, an evolution of like finding different ways to work out versus just strictly heavy weights and things like that.
We talked to them about motivation.
I do want to build it's finding motivation for ourselves. Although I do want, the next thing I'm gonna build for the garage is sell some DIY plans for a deadlift platform. So
nice.
Yeah.
Deadlifts are
Deadlifts are everything. Gonna work on that. That's kind of like the next compound. Cerebrus Compound Edition, hopefully, will be a nice little deadlift platform.
So we're practicing what we preach to you guys. So
So
everything you'll hear us talk about, we're following the same motifs.
Yep, definitely. So I guess getting into some wrestling news then.
Let's do it.
It's kind of funny in the sense that the one that even we'll gloss over probably just because we haven't watched as many matches yet, and like I've been finding myself trying to go back and because we were talking about Spartacus, I just restarted rewatching the series. How far have you gotten into that, by the way?
I'm about almost halfway done with the first season.
With the first season, yeah. So it's kind of addicting, isn't it?
It's like I started binge watching because I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah,
I was eating my soup the day after that run, and I was like, I'm gonna watch Spartacus.
And then you got into it.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching. I ended up falling asleep one day, so I paused it before I did because I was like, I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
And it's addicting.
Yeah. So, but like started rewatching that series. Also good sometimes series, whatever. But I'm also watching the World Team Trials.
Yep.
Getting set up for Final X, and all the Final X matches are set. So that will be the series of matches where they go different places, and I think those are all best 2 out of 3 to see who makes our world team, which is pretty awesome. And just along the way, the World Team Trials had a lot of great matches,
Yes.
a lot of good stuff going on there, and things are said. I guess there were a couple upsets as far as surprises. One of the bigger ones is, and not that you can never really say he was an upset because Valencia is a goer,
Yeah, he
but
is.
like everybody I think kind of thought Derringer might lose
Mhm.
1 out of the 3 to Valencia, but Valencia kind of like handed him 2 solid losses. I liked Valencia's interview afterwards
He's a big
because
guy
he's
for
going to be wrestling Kyle Dake, and they were like, well, Derringer was close to beating Dake, or has had close matches, and Valencia's blown out Derringer. Although they're 2 different wrestlers, they were like, well, what do you think going in to wrestle Dake? And he's like, they are kind of similar. They both are hard to score on, even though he scored almost not quite at will, but like
Yeah,
he scored
relentlessly.
convincingly.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm just hoping that if I take 100 shots, I land 5 of them. And I was like, I like the mentality. At the same time, though, that's kind of what in the past has caught Logan Stieber before. He was just so offensive that people
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to score on him or off of his offense, and sometimes he would dig a hole by being offensive because international wrestling's a little different. But I think Valencia's got a different.
It's the international levels, guys. For like, if any of our wrestlers
Yeah.
are listening to that, no, you stay offensive.
Yeah, but he's got a different pizzazz about his like style of shooting.
Yeah.
Different. It just seems different to me than the Logan Stieber thing. So there's just matches that are I've been wanting to watch
Valencia is
there.
also like much bigger than a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he's a big dude.
He's big. He's kind of lanky.
He's
So I
long.
mean, he's got that. He's got good leverage.
Yeah, I was watching. Which match was I watching? I was watching the Dayton Fix and Tony Ramos series.
Mhm.
Dayton Fix will be going up. He beat Tony, and he'll be wrestling against
Gilman.
Gilman. So that's going to be an interesting matchup with those guys. Kind of funny enough, like little side stories. Like I think one of the kids was like, "Got a problem," so I had to run outside and go find out. So Pika had caught a chipmunk or something out in the
Yeah.
yard. Yeah, we don't have that chipmunk anymore. So, but kind of got interrupted on watching that one, but came back to it. So lots of good matches in Final X, but in the World Team Trials, I'm still wanting to go back and watch some more of those. But what I was gonna say, and kind of like what we were just watching an interview on, because I'd heard something and I wanted Tyler to see it, was Jordan Burroughs and Beat the Streets. And what I say is funny is like Beat the Streets is an exhibition match,
Yeah. It
and
doesn't really have much weight.
yeah, apparently other than like international rankings because they wrestled the match,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize. But nonetheless, it's interesting how much like, how do you say, like, if people had a choice to watch one of the two, how many people would have chosen Beat the Streets over the World Team Trials?
Yeah.
It's just always kind of interesting to me, what is more popular or what gets more people's attention, during the freestyle season or the Greco season, versus like, NCAA season. It's set what's most
Yeah.
important. NCAA is
The thing.
the thing, and then the conference tournaments before that are the thing, and so it's like, in my mind, what I'm getting at is like, it blows my mind that the exhibition match for Beat the Streets, which is a great event and obviously has great wrestling
Yeah.
because of what it was, and we did get to see it, and we'll talk about that, but it was almost more of a thing that people I think wanted to watch versus the World Team Trials.
Well,
it's kind of
not
like
surprising to
saying,
me.
it is to me in the sense that like NCAA's is our thing. So the next big thing before NCAA's is what?
Well, I mean,
Your
you got
conference
the- yeah,
tournament.
it's
So
the
you want to
Big
watch
Tens,
you want to
ACCs.
watch your conference tournaments.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. Like that weekend before, if there was like an exhibition match,
Yeah.
or
Well,
doing,
no, I 100%
like
agree with
you know
you.
during the
But-
season, everybody's like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Although I think that's part of the problem with why, and this is a whole other topic, why a dual national championship has never quite gotten
It's got
that
push. Yeah, you
that
can't
push, or
really-
it isn't as successful because everybody wants to see the conference tournaments and they want to see
Yeah.
NCAA's. This is kind of like the same thing, except in this case, somehow the dual format or the
semester sport.
the dual format and we can talk about that. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, we yet to get into that.
But how like the exhibition thing of Beat the Streets was more popular than the World
Yeah.
Team Trials, which is leading into Final X, which is the
big thing.
kind of like in
So,
the conference tournament
yeah.
to go into the Tennessee.
So the reason
tournament.
it doesn't surprise me is because
Well, one of the names, but
the name. But so for me, it doesn't really shock me that much. But as a diehard wrestling fan, people who like really watch the wrestling, they're going to be paying attention to World Team Trials as well. But for like casual fans and all that, people who aren't maybe the biggest, it's the spectacle of what Beat the Streets is. They're like, oh, that's cool. They heard Ric Flair. They said was going to be there. People are like, oh, snap! Like this is going to be something I need to tune into. People just now getting into it. They saw Burroughs and Chamizo. They're like, that sounds like it's going to be awesome. I mean. So I can kind of see it as that.
I mean, I
like
get it as far as like the
standpoint.
advertising and everything like that. It's not that I don't get it. I guess it's just surprising as far as like my mindset of trying to understand it when it is the other way.
And now, as a diehard wrestler, I still think you should pay attention to World Team Trials. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I understand it that why a lot of casual fans would pay more attention to Beat the Streets because it is a spectacle. I mean, you're outside, you're in New York City. I mean, it's an exciting thing.
Yeah.
So
a couple different things from Beat the Streets that I wrote down over here that I just, that just tie into a couple things. One, it was the mats were getting wet throughout the night. There was one joke that I forgot to try to find it. They were like the best wrestling shoe of the night, and it had a pair of like Under Armour cleats. I was like, that would have been funny. But like the mats there's a humidity level issue, and the mats were getting wet. Somebody had actually tweeted to somebody, and I'm not on Twitter that much, but they were talking about it, and they said there was a tournament or a duel or something that was taking place on a battleship. Like the mat was on the deck, and so it was just the humidity level. It's like you can keep mopping and keep on it. It's just gonna be wetter. I don't know if there's anything to be done that would help out with, like, I don't know if like with fans maybe on board nearby that would help keep the evaporation going or something. Yeah. I'm sure they're working on it. And it is a thought that they're going to have because people obviously were slipping.
Yeah,
and
you looked at Burroughs at one point. Literally, his feet were on the mat.
Just
He
sliding.
just sliding right on back.
That's kind of a fun segue.
He actually got a point taken from him for.
He got a point taken.
Or not point taken. He got a push out.
He got a push out. The other guy.
Chamizo got a push out.
Chamizo did a good job. He got a push out.
Oh, I know. He saw the opportunity. He's like, hey, his feet are sliding.
And at the same time, to push him out there, he's got to get traction to push him out. So it's not like he didn't work for it either.
I mean, but it's also a little bit easier when he's sliding too. So you don't have to. The weight's already halfway moving.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the way they were saying, like his foot could have slipped at any moment while he's trying to push and could have. So there is risk involved in it. So I'm not trying to take anything. Well, I guess I'm not trying to take anything away from on pushing somebody
that's smart
sliding
wrestling
out.
by Chamizo.
Yeah, it was
Get
just,
that
it was
1
just,
point push out for
it
yourself.
It was just good wrestling. So, which that whole match was a great match, but. Kind of going into the wet mat, and I'm sure things are going to be done differently. And we'll go. I want to come back to JB and Chamizo, but like the wet mat and
someone who didn't slip. We're going to get someone.
Yeah, so we did so because I was asking, did you see that article? One of our favorite fanboy dudes had the Captain America singlet, had the prototype Rudis shoes, and he said it himself. I think the shoes are great, best conditions for trying them out. He goes, I wasn't slipping. He goes, Solace had some Nikes on, and he was slipping, so...
I wasn't, no.
And, like, a lot of people were like, is he throwing shade? Is he being mean? I was like, nah, he's promoting his brand. Like, he's doing what he needs to do in a sense of, like, it's not just... As we said before, Rudis is a wrestling company. It's not just, like, a shoe company that's going to make it regardless of wrestling or not. But, like, man, he's doing a good job of promoting his brand. He's one of their... first athletes that it's been signed to them that's like a current competitor type thing, and he can say these things and do it, and I think he's just doing a great job of advertising.
Yeah. So
it's advertising.
It was exciting for me because
like
him saying that and noticing he wasn't slipping, it was kind of exciting to me because we talked about this on the way home back from the mud run. Because I support Rudis, I love that they're a wrestling based company. I mean they put all their chips into wrestling and building it. So I've pretty much said that I'm going to buy their shoes when they come out. I want to get the Sly Fox ones. I love Dave Schultz, so I was like, I'm going with Sly Fox. And and
we were talking. I was kind of hoping you'd say Kyle Snyder, so I could get the Sly Fox ones. We'd both get one of each. So,
but it's a good thing because how often are you? how often are you in a wrestling room right after you mop the mats, or when towards the end of practice, like at the high school room,
Yeah,
when
they
it's
get
sweaty
sweaty,
and you're
yeah.
slipping around? Yeah, I mean, I know my shoes do it, and as much as I love my shoes, I mean, luckily they're not too bad on it. But I was like, I want to support Rudis, and I was like, hey, if they can withstand the wetness.
Yeah,
That's
and what
great.
I was saying when we were talking about it, I was like, other than like us kind of pick which shoe to get, I had a couple different thoughts. I was like, they're banking a lot on this shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how much it costs, like there'll be a mass flooding of people I think that will support and will buy it.
Oh yeah.
But
If you're a
the
wrestling
shoe,
supporter,
but
you
if the
should.
shoe flops, it's going to be one of those things that I think could. I don't think it's going to hurt the Rudis brand in the sense of like Rudis will still be there. Their apparel, everything else that they have is solid in the wrestling community and will continue to be there. But like I was
Yeah.
saying, it was just like, but how many people will take that second chance of like, sorry guys, we knew that first shoe that dropped wasn't that great. Take another chance and drop another X number of
Yeah.
dollars on it. I don't know. I just think they need to really make sure that they nail this before it comes out. They do look good.
Oh, they look
and,
beautiful.
The stuff, and then really just the last thing that I sent him was an advertisement that showed like a couple different new colorways, and also it looked slightly different than the Kyle Snyder and the Sly Fox shoe. They looked built a little bit different, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. I mean, I knew I was thinking about getting a pair anyway, but after seeing that, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna support them. I want to really get a pair when they come out. Get a new coach's pair of shoes, and I think that Kyle Snyder's doing a great job of advertising for his company, for his brand,
Yeah.
and really he's advertising for himself too. This is his now livelihood. Wrestling is his livelihood.
Exactly.
This is what he is doing, but at the same time, we all know that whether it be NFL, NBA, wrestling. Sponsorships are kind of where you make your money. That's where
he's a new sponsorship. Like, well, I don't want to say new, but he's in a company that's strictly wrestling based. They don't have any other athletes. They're.
I mean,
it's
they've got like
I
Ben
mean,
Askren.
well, yeah, I mean
and
Askren.
those-
No, I'm saying like they don't have athletes like you don't have
like I said,
LeBron
competing
James, yeah.
like competing current.
Yeah, you don't have
competing athletes.
shoes. Yeah, like you don't have any like shoes or anyone to base your product off of. It's like no, they're straight wrestling. So everything's been about wrestling, and they're like, hey, we need to come out with a shoe, and he is he's pretty much the only guy that they could, use those shoes for. So if he would have gone out there and flopped on his, the shoes falling apart, it could have been bad. But if you're a wrestler, I think you should support them just simply because. Nike, they obviously do stuff.
Well, I mean,
in other sports.
and you want to say that? I would say like,
Yeah.
hey, support like any wrestling
Well, yeah, exactly.
branded
but-
company that's specifically wrestling. I think. I mean, Compound makes cool things. Takedown Sports, which does our team gear for wrestling.
That's where we get our
you
fight
know,
shorts from. I mean, I'm just talking
Cradle
about when it comes to
gear.
like shoes.
There's a couple different
Yeah.
ones, but they're the first one
Yeah.
that's been, I would say, like, I almost want to call them independent,
Yeah.
but they're like the first independent to make shoes as
Yeah.
well. Which
So, I
think is
mean,
kind of cool.
When they come out, I really want everyone to support them just simply because like you've got Nike and they have their shoes. You have Adidas, they have their shoes. Asics are great shoes and all that. Don't get me wrong.
No, I
but-
love it.
But I mean,
Nike's probably the only
Yeah.
shoe that I haven't owned as far as a wrestling shoe.
I've
like,
owned one and it was
um,
okay.
But I've always been a diehard Asics and
Yeah.
Adidas fan,
Same.
and I'm looking forward to give these guys a try. So,
Can't wait, Rudis. Go
Yeah.
ahead and send us. Actually, just send us free shoes.
So, going back to Burroughs and Chimizo, what did you think about that interview that I just showed you? Like, thinking about the things like how we
Yeah.
felt about Chimizo. Like, what did you? All right, before even seeing that interview, did you even pick up on any of those things, or had you
Yeah.
kind of thought about it or
well,
heard about it?
when I first the first time I heard about the super match, I was like, oh, it's gonna be really cool. But the closer it got to the event, you could kind of tell it. I don't. Heated would be. It's not heated to the point where it looks like a UFC fighting people are face to face,
No.
but you could tell there was something kind of boiling under the surface, especially at the weigh-ins when they faced off. I mean, although they they shook hands and all that, I was like, this is looking like.
You could tell there's something
Yeah.
that Burroughs is wanting to like get off his chest.
Yeah.
He's the constant professional, and he's not like out there. And it's also kind of one of those wrestling mindset type things. He's not going to complain about it
Yeah.
and stuff beforehand and all that. But I think he was justified in saying things in that interview
He was.
afterwards. Like it's kind of like Chimizo wrestles for Italy,
Mhm.
right? But he's a Cuban wrestler who wrestles for Italy because like you can. Transfer nationality or wrestle for somebody else, country wise, once or twice you can change. But anyway, so he wrestles there, but he comes to the U.S. a lot to train.
Yeah.
And he goes to like the New York RTC, the New York Regional Training Center, and he wrestles in America, and he spends a lot of time in New York, and he does a lot of things. And he wrestles. He's a Cuban that wrestles for Italy. Now, I think the problem that a lot of people have is we now have somebody who wrestles for another country coming to our country
To train with.
with our guys to get better. And I think there's some like some people pay him to come over and train because that's what you do. Like, but the U.S. goes other places, goes to Russia and stays for a couple weeks and train, or we bring other Russians over here, bring them to train with us for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But so basically he's getting paid, and I think a lot of people were kind of like not happy, and I think Jordan has the right to not be happy about
100%.
it. I agree and disagree though, but at the same time I'm like I want to see wrestling grow for everybody, and if Jordan Burroughs wants to beat the best of the best, doesn't care where he trains at, where he gets it from, I kind of can say look at it that way, the best man will win no matter what. But at the same time also like how many people, how do you want to say it? Like let's use NFL. All right, so how often does a team like they do some training camps together sometimes for preseason,
Well,
but you
scrimmages,
don't. That's scrimmages, and like they'll have a preseason game, and sometimes they'll go work out with that team for like a week beforehand. But how often do you see somebody bringing over like
A Tom Brady to join a practice for you for a week preparing for someone else? Yeah, no, you don't ever see
you don't
that.
like see them do that, or like, hey, let me bring these cornerbacks from that other team over to train with us, and then we're gonna go play them. So now they're more familiar with us, and their cornerbacks know how we throw and how we do things now. It's not quite done that way, so I get that part of it as well. I also think there was another thing where I think people were wearing Team Chamizo shirts, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but I think they were also Americans, and I think because this also has more to do with just teams. This is Team USA versus other world teams, and we're trying to win team medals, individual medals, and team medals as well. And why are we helping train other people that might possibly take some of those points away from us? Or beat us in the finals, or beat us somewhere, and and help train them, and that might cost us a team medal or something else. So I get it that way too, but yeah, I think, and then there was the things with day of weigh-ins, everybody else weighed in the day before, so I can see where justifiably there were some things that he was justified in being upset with. At the same time, though,
they weighed in before. I thought they weighed in the day before.
Normally you weigh in the day before, but they weighed in day of because Chamizo thought that Jordan Burroughs looked bigger than him, so they wanted. So
because I thought they released the video the day before, like that night of them.
I think they did that with everybody
or was
else.
that just like a show?
That was the show,
okay.
And their true weigh-in.
I thought that was the official.
Their true weigh-in was next day.
Okay.
Kind of like UFC does. Where
they just walk up on a platform. And
UFC's weigh-ins now, when they do it for the public, are all false. Like they've already weighed in.
Yeah.
So it's a
they stand on a platform with nothing. It's not even hooked up half the time. They say, and you just stand.
It's a show weigh-in now, and that's what they did. So they did the show weigh-in, like just for looks of it. On the same time, though, like not to doubt or question Jordan Burroughs, but I think Jordan Burroughs also uses things to find motivation, to motivate himself. For example, the last time that it was going to be him versus Dake, and a lot of people were starting to, question Burroughs and say it's Dake's time and I mean, he kind of took offense to that and said, it's still my time, it's still my place, it's still my way, and he has constantly proven that. But I think he finds ways, and don't take this the wrong way, it's not like he finds a mountain out of a molehill. He's not doing that, but he does a great job, and I'm trying to compliment him without making him sound like a bad guy, of finding motivation within situations to build that desire, to build that effort to go after it. And for some people, he's finding how he's saying he's being slighted and using that as motivation. That's how he's doing it. But he's not publicly complaining about things. Is why I'm okay with that. But he finds a way to get himself motivated, and I think that's probably something that's helped him with the longevity of his career and everything too. So
100%.
I really think that
like he said in that interview, he said, "I'm still the king."
Yeah, so, and I truly agree with him. I think it's great. I'm not exactly 100% sure how I feel about the whole Chamizo wrestling in the U.S. Although he did throw, if you want to throw shade, he said it at one of the pre-interviews about the New York RTC. Is like that, like they don't got that many top level elite guys anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, talk about shots fired. Like,
Well, you're coming to train with us, so
you know,
you
but
can't.
but he said this, but he was like just dogged out the
Yeah.
whole NYC RTC by
Let's see if
saying,
he's welcome back.
you know, he's like. You know, he's like, I got my training in Nebraska. I got my guys. I'm good. Who does NYC RTC have anyway? Nobody. You know, that's his words. You know, I'm like, oh man, like talk about maybe a little chippy. That's where I first noticed it was that interview, and that's when I thought that was kind of funny. So
You're talking about Burrows. Yeah,
Mhm.
no,
yeah,
yeah, he's out there in Nebraska, but no, it's like, I thought you were talking about Chamizo said something. I was like, why would Chamizo say
no,
something? That's why I was confused for a
no.
second.
Burrow said that. Yeah,
I was
no,
kind of
that's-
confused for a
that's
minute. I was
where
like, why would
Chamizo's
he say it?
going.
He's the one that's coming here.
Yeah, that's where he's going. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where he goes.
It was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. All right, when I sent Tyler the stuff from Beat the Streets with the Kyle Snyder shoe and everything, sent it on his Instagram. My man has finally come around, got himself an Instagram, and
Don't
you
know how to use it.
yeah, I mean, but it's not that hard to figure it out.
I'll
Like, we're
figure
gonna
it
go
out.
over like how to repost something.
Yeah.
Reposting is the only thing that most times like you can screenshot a picture and then
Yeah.
just repost that.
I did that
picture.
with the Dave Schultz
Um,
picture. That I
Yeah, I
posted.
mean that's the easiest thing to do
Yeah.
with pictures. The repost things, there's literally just an app. But we'll talk about
Yeah.
that off air here in a minute. So I'm gonna hook him up so he can repost the videos like the cool shoes that I sent him and everything. But let's throw your Instagram name out there. What is it now?
All right, so it's it's all lowercase because I don't know. Can you uppercase stuff on this?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I don't know if you can or not, but it's TRT Curry 811. It's kind of a funny story. So the gym I train at for jiu-jitsu, where our name is, we're Top Martial Arts, but we're under Roberto Travin, and you know Team Roberto Travin is TRT, and we were at a tournament one day, and I was talking to the guy at my gym, who owns the gym, Brandon Perry, and I was like, man, I just love TRT. I love being TRT trained, like just joking, like testosterone replacement therapy. So I actually put that as the name, you know, TRT Curry. But then I started thinking about it. I could also use it for like my podcast as well as TR could be like the real Tyler Curry,
Yeah.
like TR the real.
See, that's what I was actually gonna
Yeah.
ask you. You kind of like, I was kind of using this as a precursor to our next thing, but he
Yeah.
already kind of beat me to it. I was gonna ask him what's the name stand for, because I saw it on the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I added him to the Cerebrus, thing in my personal Instagram and things like that. But I was like, what does the TRT stand for? And
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was gonna ask him. I was
Yeah.
gonna be like, kind of throw that out there. But he kind of went ahead and beat the whole interview.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of
mini
people were
process.
a lot of people were confused about that, and
It's
it's a
he
fun. It's a
misspelled
funny
his
story.
name on the thing. I was
Yeah.
like, Tyler, it helps if you spell your name right.
Yeah.
On the thing, if you're gonna do. I'm like,
I might change it later, but it
my
started
man's
out
a
as a
fool.
joke.
He misspelled his name.
So the thing was, the reason I did it, I finally downloaded it, is because we were at the gym and I got done training, and Brandon was like, "Yeah, you're not gonna leave this gym until you download an Instagram."
Well, he
'Cause-
needed to, because he actually, holding accountable. Because like one of the
Yeah.
things that he put on his personal page was like, "Hey, getting ready to put out
Yeah.
social media on my he has his Facebook already, but we have our Cerebrus page. We have the Cerebrus Instagram, Cerebrus Facebook, and we've got all that there. Cerebrus
So
email, the YouTube channel, and he's got his own YouTube channel. He's talking about like doing
Doing
all
it, I
this.
just haven't
He
yet.
hadn't done it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he was able to do that, and that kind of leads into, as I say, hopefully we're going to have a series of guests on that were
Yes.
probably former wrestlers, and like I said, I was going to use this as a segue, ask him about his name, why he misspelled it, just kind of mess with him a little bit, but he went ahead and ruined the whole interview portion of this thing.
Spoilers.
Yeah, he knew what I was going to ask him, so he went ahead and broke it down. But hopefully we get somebody maybe even this weekend on. It is a holiday weekend, so we're going to see how that plays out, because we know a lot of people's schedules. But if not this weekend, next weekend, looking about getting a guest on for us. Nick said he'd be a guest for us coming on, and I've got a couple others. And hopefully now with summertime, maybe schedules open up a little bit more. And I wanted to kind of do a little guest series of wrestlers and talk about how wrestling's helped them out in doing whatever it is they're currently doing. How's wrestling helped you get you where you are with coaching? How's wrestling helped you get you are with your music? How's wrestling helped get you are with your MMA? How's wrestling helped out with? I was just talking to a buddy of mine via Facebook who showed an article that his boys are twin. He's got twin boys, and they're phenomenal track athletes, and they signed with somebody, and they're going off to college. Can't remember exactly where they're going, but they were wrestlers as well, and they kind of made the transition switch from wrestling to track full time. Because that was like a passion of theirs, and they really started enjoying and liking it. And one of the things that he said, it was kind of funny, is like, yeah, they started off as wrestlers, and that's why track was so easy for them. Like, track workouts were easy. They'd literally go from wrestling practice to track workouts. And the mentality that they were able to take from wrestling onto the track has helped carry them to the point of they're both getting scholarships to go
I feel like this is about to come into a Dan Gable quote.
You got it, hey.
Is that what it says?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
After wrestling, everything else in life is easy.
I knew
and
it.
he also said, on the track,
Yeah.
their killer edge, their killer mentality came from wrestling.
Yeah.
And I was like, Henry, that is dope. That is awesome. And Henry Jones, I might actually try to get him to do a quick little segment and kind of tell us about his boy's transition.
Yeah.
And Henry was a great wrestler. He was at Chattanooga before I was. He was an Oklahoma guy. He took me and a buddy of mine, Cliff, under his wing and kind of looked out for us. I'll tell a quick story about him before we wrap it up for today, unless you got some other stuff. But I remember my first day in the college room in Tennessee. I walk in and I'm tying my shoes, getting ready to get on the mat, get warmed up and whatnot. And I look up, and it's a couple of other guys. The older guys are on the team over there, and one of the guys is pushing the other dude, just messing with, pushing him. And he was doing the same thing. Henry, and it was Henry. I recognized him from Oklahoma. Henry was tying his shoes, and it was the guy kept pushing him. So Henry gets up, takes him, and we're not even freestyle Greco or anything. It's just first day collegiate practice, open mat, launches him, and I was for 5, and then goes back to just tying his shoe nothing happened. I was not wrestling with him today. The guy that he chunked looked pretty big too, so I'm not wrestling with him either. I need to go find somebody else. So my first, I didn't know if there was any my first day of fear and adrenaline run through my body was just kind of literally not gonna wrestle with him, not gonna wrestle with him. What do I want to do?
You're that. You're that guy at the tournament. Hey, is that who I have to go against?
Yeah, it was. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. It was my first day in the college room, and that's what I walk into was seeing some people mess around,
Was it a Kamal Bay type throw?
Oh man, it was
beautiful.
Nice. Yes. And I was
I've been I've been watching a ton of his highlights here recently.
Oh man, it's great.
I love his highlights. So
that was kind of my first day of NCAA college wrestling was seeing that, and it's always made an impression. And I was that's when you've entered into a new world. Because each time you go somewhere, we tell our guys in the middle school, and you go to the high school, you're back to the bottom man on the totem pole. You're gonna, the other guys are bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And as a freshman, leaving high school and then going to college, man, it's right back there again. So it was a great experience. It was cool. We can talk about all that later on. But hey, Dan Gable quote, after wrestling, everything else is easy. These boys had that killer mentality, and I just kind of have a feeling as we have our little series of guests that we're going to come on with what has wrestling done for you, and we might even just call it that. I think we'll probably hear a lot of that. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
It kind of reminds me of our race. I don't think there was a single time in our race where we stopped and walked. There were some people walking.
Whole parts
we would sit there.
We'd take a breather.
Yeah, we
afterwards,
might take a breather
after we finish our you go through a thing.
Yeah.
And all right, let me
take
catch my
a few
breath
steps
here,
and then look
and we'd all be we're good to go, and we're good to go. We didn't walk from one section, they're not sections or events. What one obstacle?
Yeah.
We didn't walk from one obstacle to another. There were some points where we need to take a break in there, a little bit and walk, or we stopped at the water station.
Finish line. We finished out running it. Instead of doing the walk with your arms, we kind of locked up and then we just bam.
So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to summer and coming up. I know a lot of people are, and I'm looking forward to this series of interviews that we're.
Shoes.
Yes, definitely. Look forward to teaching this guy a little bit more about Instagram. I'm glad to know that he didn't misspell his name. And wouldn't be the show without saying thank you to Roll Soap.
People love your soap.
Shouted your stuff out. It's gonna sound really weird. Shouted your stuff out. The showers at the mud run and outdoor showers running the mud off. A lot of people really liked it. Hopefully somebody, we told them go check out Etsy. Hopefully somebody checks it out. We did forget to tell them about our code. Type in Cerebrus at the promo code for checkout. Get 10% off your order. Hit them up. was actually saddened since we took stuff and gave it away at the race. I was like, oh man, I'm out of roll soap. I gotta get me some.
Yeah.
All right, or I gotta get some more. Let's put it that way. So if it's good enough for me to want to get some more, then
I love it.
Then
I love it.
yep, you got it. So hey, school's coming in. Set your goals. Whether get motivated, whether it be another race, something else. Find a way to wrestle 6. Get some roll soap.
Bye bye.